Magenta.
Welcome back!
Hell yeah!
Alright, after some very frustrating things have happened, we are back with what if episode 2 was good? What if these microphones work?
That'd be good.
I mean, his works. I haven't thrown the other one yet.
We're working on it.
There will be outtakes of that. I'm sure I can find some gems of me just walking around going, motherfucker!
Worst case scenario,
Oh, yeah,
ladies
that.
and gentlemen, check our Amazon wish list for a parabolic mic like they use in the NFL. We will hang it above our studio.
Bam!
Boom mic.
Would our audio hinge on the bound? I mean, episode 2, what if it was good?
What if episode 2 really good? What if we returned to the same hypothetical universe where I was a story exec over at Fox when the prequel trilogies were being developed? And as such, I was able to correct some of
Hypothetically.
the film's missteps. And what if the changes that I made in episode 1 now rippled into episodes 2 and 3? Well, allow me to cast one more stone at that.
Ripple into my movie.
Fast. Everybody, take out your scripts, cross out Naboo, and relabel it Alderaan. Now, the reason for this is simple. If you're going to be blowing up a planet in the later films, we should be seeing it a couple of times so we actually now that little bit of
But what about Dantooine?
let's start this part.
Dantooine?
Guys, in case you didn't know, episode 2's a bit of a mess.
It
I
sucks.
just make a few
No.
changes. With
We're
episode
2 minutes into this video,
it's
right?
have to be a bit more drastic. With
I'll
all
be.
that in mind, let's dive into this. What if?
Knowing them, all they can hear is...
Now, just like episode 1, episode 2 suffers from focus being in the wrong place. For some
Focus!
reason,
Oh yeah? Well, focus on this.
almost
Let's
half
recreate
its
the
time
poster,
was
Dan.
Hard to argue with that.
when the real relationship being focused on should be that of
Not
Anakin
like
and
sand.
Obi-Wan. If you don't show
Oh, yeah, this is where he started.
friends, then it doesn't really matter whether you become enemies. Like in George
This is where it gets good. He
you
draws.
only get one scene of them in the elevator where they're like, "We are friends."
You fell into that trap, master.
Dick to Obi-Wan.
Hail Hydra.
Hey, it's Dexter Jetfucker.
Or snarky one another in the Coliseum, and that's the film.
Die,
It's not
Jedi,
just
die.
Tell us that they're friends. We should be seeing it in their actions. And friends stick together. But let's get into that. Now, for the most part, the crawl.
I believe he said, "I'll be
pretty
back."
good. Unrest in the Senate. There are separatists. The Republic needs an army. So let's address that needs an army thing first.
Okay.
We don't need any of these weird backdoor dealings to get us to the clone troopers. Like,
That
it's
was weird.
impressive that Palpatine and Dooku set up this incredibly elaborate game of mousetrap to get us to those clones. But why not just start
Cat
with
and mouse.
Palpatine?
Was
it
and
Mousetrap?
the Jedi
Mousetrap.
Council? And remember, Palpatine in my version is
Awesome
now in
game.
charge of defense. So Palpatine's telling the Jedi, hey, you're outnumbered, so the Senate's commissioned that a clone army be formed. Naturally, the Jedi are opposed to this, but Palpatine's like, guys, I totally get where you're coming from, but everyone's really freaked out right now by these separatists, and you guys are kind of outnumbered, so we need this army to show that the Republic's still strong. However, at this point, we have the ideological counter.
Get out of my seat!
Meeting might with might doesn't necessarily show strength. However, Palpatine's like, yeah, hey, that's super cool and
Might
everything,
with height.
but the Senate's already passed it, so there's like definitely...
Scratching behind his ear.
I'm fine with that. But even with
Good
this
boy.
clone army, the Jedi aren't to be bested yet. Yoda makes mention that the House of Alderaan has reached out to both senators and separatists in hopes of tabling this in a diplomatic manner. And from there, we transition to a hangar where we join up with Obi-Wan, Anakin, and several other Jedi escorting senators to their ship. Anakin's expressing concern that he might not be ready for such an important mission. Yeah, he's passed all his basic training, but he doesn't feel quite up to snuff, especially whenever handling a lightsaber. But Obi-Wan, who's now warmed up to Anakin at this point, smiles, countering that a lightsaber isn't what makes a Jedi great. I mean, look to Master Yoda. He's one of the greatest Jedi of all time, and he never uses a lightsaber. And he won't because it completely clashes with everything that his character stands for. The conversation should
Except
feel
for that
very
one fight.
But the puppets technically is.
Sounds like Chester Cheetah from earlier.
I saw your Padres. It was absolutely inspirational, and it made me want to
Did you
become
catch who
a
that was?
pilot. Are you escorting the ship? And Anakin's like, yeah, actually I am. And the pilot keeps fanboying out. He's like, oh my gosh, I could not believe that in my wildest dreams I'd be flying alongside Anakin Skywalker. The name's Owen Lars. Like I said before, I'm shaking things up a bit. But you know, the term uncle
Okay.
doesn't
And they're
make
shaking
you feel
hands.
it. And it's closer, it makes sense as to why he would be taking care of Luke. And really, when you look at George's version, Owen's exposure to Anakin is super weird. Just think about this for a second.
Okay.
You're hanging out on your moisture farm when suddenly some dude who you've never met shows up and says that he's the son of the slave that your father bought and married. And when he finds out that she's been kidnapped, he takes off, leaving you to engage in an awkward conversation with this overly dressed
Nice
woman you showed
midriff.
up with, while he mindlessly goes apeshit on the Sandy, then comes back with the body, grieves brief
not just the men, but the women and the children.
I killed
I
them
shot
all.
them like
At the funeral, then leaves, and then years later, another dude who you've never met shows up with the murderer's son. Would you really take that child?
Right.
Anyway, off to Alderaan they go when ambush, enemy separate fighters. So here we are with our first real dogfight, and this allows for a number of things to happen. Thing one, we get to see that Anakin's a very good pilot, like Obi-Wan told Luke, and thing two, we get to see that they're very close friends who have one another's backs, and there's a fun bit of cross-cutting banter, not just between Obi-Wan and Anakin, but also including Owen, who, despite being paired with a clunky civilian ship, is really managing to hold his own in the fray. You know, we should just be having a fun space battle. So they arrive on Alderaan where they're another relationship change with her brother, Bail Organa. Padme is still very much loyal to the Republic, where her brother is somewhat of a separatist sympathizer. However, when he hears of the ambush, Bail laments how fractured the separatists are. You know, just set up his disappointment.
We are fractured.
Later be instrumental in the formation of the Rebel Alliance. You know, just give him a bit of an arc in the prequels.
Sounds
Anyway,
good.
the separatists don't arrive until the next day. So there's a scheduled banquet for the senators and Jedi, and so Obi-Wan finds himself in the exact place he doesn't want to be. While he's been doing everything to reinforce Anakin, he himself has been feeling a lot of doubt. He's returned to the planet where his master was killed, and he holds himself accountable for Qui-Gon's death, as he was going to choose to rush to the aid of Padme and not his master. And of course now he finds himself at a banquet sitting opposite Padme, making things only more uncomfortable.
Just slides him
Anakin,
down.
on the other hand, is having an absolutely fantastic time. And now we get to see the flip side of Obi-Wan and Anakin's friendship, as Obi-Wan gets up rather abruptly to leave the conference hall, and Anakin follows, being a concerned friend. While
Dude, you
Obi-Wan
check yes?
doesn't explain the situation to Anakin, Anakin tries his best to make Obi-Wan feel better. Obi-Wan brushing it off and choosing that he'll just go back to their barracks and meditate. At this point, Anakin's joined outside by Owen, and the two Tatooine boys get a chance to bond.
Get out!
And discuss their different backgrounds and aspirations. And as they make their way back to the banquet hall, they encounter
That's a
Padme,
tall
who doesn't want to
building.
be stuck in the room talking politics the
Sure
entire
is.
time. Because honestly, who'd want a bunch of politics in Star Wars? And she offers to give them a tour of the palace grounds. Meanwhile, while this fun little tour is going on, Obi-Wan is still overrun with grief. Despite his attempt to clear his mind through meditation, flashes of Qui-Gon's death and Maul's face keep appearing in his mind. And then if we want to hold on with the whole premonition thing that George introduced in 2 and 3, we can add an additional flash. The image of a face engulfed in flame, however, it's too difficult
Ray.
for Obi-Wan to make out who it is. He's not sure if it's friend or foe. However, we don't have much time to think of this, because rise and shine, the Separatists are here. So Jedi are positioned both inside and out of the conference hall, and proceedings are underway, but immediately get off to a bad start when Dooku asks to talk with the Jedi, not the senators.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Anakin and Obi-Wan are guarding the outside perimeter, and despite every attempt that Obi-Wan is making, Anakin
like-
just can't get over how wonderful of a night he had, and unknowingly rubbing salt in the wound by talking about how amazing Padme is. Now cut to the hangar where an unidentified ship is touching down, and the folks in the control tower are like, alright, we don't know who you are, could you please identify yourself? And the ship is silent. Cut back to the conference room where the senators are like, yeah, no, the Jedi don't actually govern, so if you have anything to say, you should be talking to us. The Jedi are just here for
Listen,
protection.
Four Eyes.
And then, and just for sake of specificity, let's say it's one from the Techno Union, because yeah,
Why not?
in George's version, there's a Techno Union.
Yeah,
It's
he
like, what
tries
do
to-
you mean you need protection? We're the ones who should be afraid of you. You've been attacking us. And the conference hall just erupts into rabble and finger pointing.
Rah, rah, rah,
Anakin
rah,
and
rah,
Obi-Wan,
rah,
Anakin saying something like, and she's really nice too. Back to the hangar. Please identify yourself. Again, silence. Back to the conference hall where
Cuts to Obi-Wan just hanging off the balcony. Yes, Anakin, her paps are very lovely.
It is really. What do you mean that separatists have been assassinated? We haven't done anything of that. You've been the one who have been assassinating our senators. Back to the hangar. Please identify
Oh,
yourself. What do you
steampunk
mean you take
resistance.
responsibility for these attacks? Anakin, can you please just be please identify? And suddenly the silent ship blasts the control tower. And then there's a third party involved. And now you've got a bunch of very important people.
They're like, was that you? No, was that you?
As
No.
the ship door lowers and Darth Maul
trap.
steps out.
Bah, bah,
And
bah,
remember,
bah.
in my version, Maul was cut in half, but he didn't die, and now he's back with some pretty dope and deadly.
This was made
Open dead
before
legs.
the Clone Wars.
Okay.
So he didn't know that not this actually happened, but he does come back with as like an arachnid. He had like 8 legs,
Yeah.
but then and he was crazy.
The robot legs, and a legion of battle droids.
Hey!
He ignites his lightsaber, and it's time to get to work. Now the conference hall is an absolute shit.
Robo penis dogs.
The blast doors close. Obi-Wan and Anakin are rushing to the conference hall, and they see Dooku. And Obi-Wan...
It's Doo-Doo!
Hey, Dooku, what you
As Dooku
doing?
takes off, Obi-Wan throws a tracker onto it, and he makes his way back to the senators and Anakin. However,
They're big on
Anakin's
trackers,
unable
aren't
to get
they?
into the conference
Well,
hall.
that was
one of
instead
these
of
on the-
Django,
So
yeah.
he's been running around looking for an entrance, and that's when he runs into Darth Maul and all of the droids.
There's a
Anakin's
door
not
right
eager to
there,
fight,
dude.
but he has no- So he ignites his lightsaber and goes at Maul. However, Maul
Hello?
knows that Anakin's small potatoes, so he just sticks some battle droids on him and continues on his merry way.
I'm not finished growing
Now,
yet.
despite his lack of confidence, Anakin's actually quite capable with a lightsaber, but the sheer number of droids is absolutely overwhelming. Or they would be, were it not for Owen showing up and helping out with a blast.
Hey.
So as Maul manages to cut
Thanks,
his way into
brother.
the conference room, Anakin can make chase after him.
Don't
As
touch
Maul
that, it's
advances
hot.
Padme, Bill, and several other senators and separatists, Anakin dives in and locks blades with Maul. The two fight briefly, however, it becomes very apparent that Maul is merely toying with Anakin, taking a moment to hiss at him that were he only to embrace that fear, turn into anger, more powerful with a lightsaber. Actually, his put button locks on Anakin's hand. However, at that moment, Obi-Wan...
I'll have your hand with some
he
fava
looks at
beans.
his side, and nothing else matters. It
Come
is
closer,
all-
Anakin.
And Anakin gets to see firsthand what a rage-fueled battle looks like. And it's intense. It's epic and acrobatic. However, it's cut short by Palpatine.
Darth Maul!
Finish him! Crossfire of droid senators, separatist clone troopers.
Where are those coming from?
3 hits.
Were it not for these clone troopers, this diplomacy.
Wait, when did Anakin turn into a lady? That's obviously him, but he... Wait.
No,
It's a head wrap.
that's just a lady.
Okay.
Dude looks like
He's injured in the fight.
I guess that's supposed to be Tarkin right there in the back. It looks like him.
Right?
Would have been a massive.
It's gonna show up
Several
somewhere.
of the senators suggest that there might
Either
be a
alive or
play.
digitally.
But Palpatine and his generals are like, actually, we're thinking that Dooku and Maul might be linked. As fun fact, Dooku was a Jedi, but then deserted the Council, and we didn't hear from him until he suddenly resurfaced as the voice of the Separatist movement. We're thinking, especially based on his radical beliefs that drove him away from the
You
Jedi.
get one
he
black
loves
eye.
the-
3 good ones.
Separatists use this event as a platform to deliver a real blow to the Republic. It seems like we're dealing with a serious
Phasma in the
rival who's
background.
an absolute threat. The time for diplomacy's done.
I'm gonna be in
Meanwhile,
charge.
The palace has been converted into a hospital, and Padme finds herself doing her best to take care of the wounded, one of them being Anakin, who she feels absolutely indebted to, as he did save her life.
Oh,
Obi-Wan
thanks,
goes to
Anakin. High
Council of
five.
Yoda and several travelers reveal that Dooku's on
Other hand.
Geonosis and requests to go after him. And
Lack
Yoda's
thereof.
like, are you really hoping to find Dooku and answers for what's going on, or are you hoping that Dooku and Maul are in fact linked, and you're hoping to get revenge on Maul? Because one of those answers is very non-Jedi. And from there we get a larger discussion of the Force and the moral grayness that comes with war.
You see,
Oh,
midichlorians.
Yoda, if you're not gonna tell me, I'm gonna use this magic 8 ball.
And in turn,
Where is he?
Obi-Wan then
cracks him over the head.
since they
Burns
landed
out.
on Alderaan, and how he's been
Signs pointing. Yes.
and the vision that he saw of the face
Content's
of
hazy.
Flame.
Because I hit you in the head.
Change of plans. You are seeking out Dooku, and Obi-Wan's like, wait, what? And Yoda's like,
What?
well, Dooku trained Qui-Gon, and you haven't fully let go of your master's death. You're still feeling this grief, and it's bottling up inside.
Wait, he hadn't
you,
let go of his
starting
what?
to cloud your judgment.
His
And from there,
death.
before heading off to Geonosis,
His death.
Obi-Wan visits Anakin in the
I know, Anakin. We're all
Anakin, of
stumped.
course, wants to join him, but
Stumped.
Obi-Wan says this is something that he has to do alone, and Anakin should rest up and take care of Padme. So Obi-Wan lands on Geonosis.
Yeah,
and
you
this
know,
allows
with your
for
one
some
good hand.
important action to take place, as he might encounter some large beast guarding Dooku's fortress. And upon vanquishing the beast, Obi-Wan enters the fortress and encounters Dooku. And Dooku's like, oh hey, it's super cool that you're a friend, and yes, I did train Qui-Gon, but I've got some shit that I need to tell you that's going to blow your fucking mind.
And
so
stab.
Dooku admits to Obi-Wan that he did leave the Jedi Council because he felt himself being seduced by the dark side. However, he took hermitage in the Outer Rim so he could cleanse his mind of these evil thoughts. And right about the time he started to feel like his old Jedi self, that's when Sidious came a-calling. And Sidious was like, hey guy, I'm a Sith Lord. And as a Sith, I'm kind of just amassing power and trying to get everybody on my side so I can crush the Jedi. And don't tell anyone, but I've also kind of infiltrated and am slowly gaining control of the Senate. But again, don't tell anyone.
He
And
sounds
this
like
offer
somebody
took
we
just the
know.
redemption that he needed, as he rejected Sidious's offer. But as a result, Sidious was like, hey, yeah, that's really cool and everything, but Maul, you better go over there and silence him. And after hearing all of this, Obi-Wan's like, holy shit. And Dooku's like, yeah, that's why I couldn't tell any of the senators, because we don't know how deep this thing goes. Meanwhile, Padme's Florence Nightingale-ing over Anakin a bit. However, any real hopes of romance are interrupted by Palpatine receiving word from a bounty hunter, and it can be this guy if you really want the fan service. The Dooku's on Geonosis, and so naturally he's going to send the clones on an all-scale assault on Dooku's fortress. Because, you know, this is the best way to showcase the might of the Republic, and not simply ignite a powder keg. Anakin Padme that Obi-Wan's on Geonosis, and then Padme's like, well shit, we need to get to Geonosis what the clones do. So the clock's ticking and an armada's moving, and Owen pilots Anakin and Padme down to Geonosis. So they find Obi-Wan and they're like, dude, we gotta go. And Obi-Wan turns to Dooku and is like, you heard them, let's go. And Dooku's like, no. And everyone's like, and he's like, war's happening. Like, we've failed in terms of diplomacy. This is going down no matter what. But if I die here, that's going to send a far greater message than I would run. So with that, the three have to walk back somewhat defeated. Sure, they saved Obi-Wan, but they're not preventing war. And as they board Owen's ship, they get...
I have a feeling somebody at Disney watched this, and then when they got the rights to it, they just immediately took this premise and put it into Rogue One. Save the dream! I'm going to stand here. War's upon you.
They turn back and see the clone troopers just blowing the shit out of Dooku's place. And again, following the thought that Obi-Wan's our main character, you get to see what this represents. In Episode 1, Obi-Wan loses Master Qui-Gon, who represents the present. In Episode 2, he gets to reconnect with the past a bit, but that then too is taken away from him. So the only thing for him left to lose is the future, in Anakin. But good thing they're great friends, so nothing's gonna happen, right? And as they fly off the surface of Geonosis, Padme can't help but remark that they're just surrounded by darkness and they just seem so alone. And as Anakin comforts her, Obi-Wan remarks that it's not all darkness. There are glimmers of hope all around them. There is light. They just have to find it.
A new hope is coming.
How we end Episode 2. So those are my random
That's pretty
Episode
epic.
2.
Yes, I agree.
I concur, Doctor.
So, these two came out fairly quickly back to back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, August 13th, 2013.
Right.
So, remember that date.
I forgot.
August 13th, 2013.
I'm sure right at it.
It's on the screen. Got it.
So, next time we will find out the epic conclusion as to what if Episode 3 was... Episode 3 was good? It's what, my top 3, right?
Yeah.
That's because I haven't seen 8 and 9. I'm sure they will be... No, I haven't seen 9.
Usually, sorry.
Nah, it's not. No, shut up.